Happy Monday everyone. Today's story is The Town Mouse and the Country Mouse. Once upon a time, deep in the hedgerow, there lived a country mouse called Charlie. One afternoon, he was sitting at his window listening to a blackbird singing while the sun warmed the fur on his back, when suddenly there was a knock at the door. It was his cousin, Tyler the Town Mouse. "Hello there, Charlie. I've come to visit," said Tyler, marching in and flopping down in Charlie's best armchair. "I'm exhausted. What a journey. Have you got anything to eat?" Charlie fetched him a bowl of nuts and marigold seeds, topped with some red hawthorn berries he had been saving for a very special treat. But Tyler wrinkled his nose. "What plain food," he said. "Still, I suppose it's good for you." When he finished eating, he leaned back. "Now, Charlie, is there anything going on around here in the evenings?" Charlie smiled. "Yes, there is. I'll take you to see something wonderful." That evening they climbed the hill behind Charlie's house. The sun was just going down and all the birds were singing their best songs. They waited while the sky fell with brilliant colours. "There," whispered Charlie. "Where?" said Tyler. "The sunset," said Charlie. "Isn't it beautiful?" Tyler yawned. "Too slow for me. I like a bit of action," and he set off down the hill. That night, Tyler couldn't sleep. The countryside was just too dark and quiet. Next morning, when he saw that breakfast was nuts, seeds and berries again, he decided enough was enough. "Sorry, Charlie," he said. "Country life is not for me. I need the bright lights of the town. But why don't you come back with me and see how exciting life can be?" Charlie had never been further than the top of the hill, but he said bravely, "All right, I will. Just let me pack a few things." And they set off. They had not gone far when they met a carrier pigeon. "I'm on my way to town," she said. "Would you like a lift? Climb aboard and hold on tight." As they soared high into the air, Charlie watched the hedgerow get smaller and smaller until it disappeared. He felt quite lost. It was a long journey. At last the carrier pigeon set them down in the town marketplace. Charlie stood rooted to the spot. There were so many people. There was so much noise. "Come on, Charlie," hissed Tyler, dragging him into the safety of the shadows. "It's dangerous here. Stick close and follow me." They scuttered off along the gutter, across the pavement, up an iron staircase, over rooftops, down a chimney and through a window. At the end of a musty passage, bright light steamed from a small hole. "In we go," whispered Tyler, and he squeezed through. Charlie followed. A giant cat with fierce eyes and huge sharp teeth was waiting to pounce on them. "Help!" squealed Charlie. He swayed and fell, but Tyler caught him by the tail. He was laughing. "Don't be silly, Charlie. We're in a cinema. It's only a film." Poor Charlie peeked through his paws. The giant cat was now chasing a giant mouse. It was all very strange. The film ended and they set off again through the dark streets. On the way, Charlie nearly got squashed, gassed and drowned in a sea of paper, and knocked out by a runaway pineapple. Even at that. "You must be more careful," said Tyler, picking him up for the 4th time. Charlie was very glad when they reached the steps of the big house where Tyler lived. "I expect you're hungry," said Tyler, leading the way to the dining room. "Let's see what's left." And he dashed round the table, looking for the best bits. "Have some sardines and chocolate mousse," he said. How about prawns and mayonnaise or prunes and custard? He offered Charlie sausages, ice cream and a bit of fatty bacon. Have a drink, he called, knocking over a wine glass. Charlie didn't like it very much. He was beginning to feel very sick and dizzy. Suddenly, there was a horrible noise. Crash! A fat cat landed on the table, and Tyler, well, he vanished. The cat sprang. Charlie jumped! The cat chased him round and round and up and down until Charlie dived under a sofa and scuttled up into one of the springs. The cat could smell Charlie. Charlie could smell the cat. The cat watched the sofa for a long, long time. Charlie waited, trembling. He thought his end had come and he would never see his comfortable home in the hedgerow again. At last he heard the cat being shooed out, and almost at once Tyler appeared. Sorry, Charlie. Forgot to tell you where the mouse hole was. Are you all right? You look a bit odd. And he led Charlie to his home under the sideboard and put him to bed. Charlie had nightmares all night. Very early in the morning he woke Tyler and said, I'm sorry. Town life is just too much for me. I think I'd better go home. So Tyler took him back to the marketplace and put him back on a milk van that was going to the farm near the hedgerow. Charlie was so pleased to be home again. He ate a large dish of red hawthorn berries while the blackbirds sang and the sun warmed the fur on his back. That night, Tyler put on his top hat, white tie and tails and set off across the town for some fun at the theatre. He was very happy. Under the same night sky, Charlie lay on his hill. He watched the sun set and now he was counting the stars. He was very happy too. The end.